London, 1820. Fog choked the narrow streets, gas lamps casting trembling shadows on cobblestones. The city thrived in wealth and despair. Grand mansions stood beside squalid alleys where crime and desperation festered. Whispers of secret societies and forbidden rituals threaded through markets, coffeehouses, and taverns. Yet no one could anticipate the horror lurking beneath the city's surface. A ritual so dark, so meticulously orchestrated, it would shock London to its core. Candles flickered on stone floors, shadows twisted unnaturally, and chants terrifying and deliberate filled hidden chambers. The participants moved with a mix of devotion and fear, knowing the consequences of failure were fatal. This is the tragic story of fear, power, and the dark ritual that shocked London in 1820. The London of 1820 was a city of contrasts. Grand estates lined the Thames, where aristocrats promenaded in fine clothing, while just a few streets away, many lived in crowded and challenging conditions. Smoke from industrial furnaces filled the air, carrying the scent of coal and iron across the city. This mix of wealth and hardship created an environment ripe for rumor, mystery, and intrigue. Citizens were accustomed to minor incidents in daily life, but few could anticipate the unusual events quietly unfolding in the city's hidden corners. Fog wrapped the streets like a shroud. Gas lamps, the newest technology, cast a weak and flickering light, leaving alleys dim and shadowed. Londoners learned to move carefully. Cautious glances, quick footsteps, and whispered words became routine. The city's twisting streets and secret courtyards created spaces where private activities could occur unnoticed, and where stories could develop away from public attention. Superstition and curiosity flourished alongside industry. Despite the rise of scientific thinking, many still believed in mysterious and unexplained phenomena. Stories of secret societies, hidden symbols, and unusual gatherings spread through taverns and pamphlets. These tales captivated and unsettled people across all social classes, creating an atmosphere where intrigue and fascination coexisted. Class differences added to the tension. The wealthy were careful about security, while working-class citizens remained cautious of authorities. Servants observed the lives of their employers closely, aware of the delicate balance of appearances and discretion. Courtiers, merchants, and politicians understood that reputation mattered greatly, and secrecy was often considered essential. Streets and neighborhoods seemed ordinary on the surface, but many contained stories that were carefully hidden from view. Social changes and unrest further complicated life in London. Demonstrations, petitions, and public discussions highlighted the city's inequalities and pressures, yet many unusual events were kept private, shared only in limited circles. The city's social environment was sensitive, with citizens navigating both public expectations and private knowledge. It was in this mix of fog, curiosity, and caution that significant activities quietly took place. The city's streets and buildings provided pathways to locations where private events could unfold. No official map could chart these hidden routes. Citizens went about their daily routines, unaware of the activities taking place nearby. Every alley, tavern, and unused building seemed to hold a story, perhaps even a secret, that remained largely unnoticed. Observers knew the importance of discretion. London, with its blend of grandeur and hidden spaces, provided a setting for events that would fascinate future generations and leave a lasting impression on the city's history. The ritual itself was executed with chilling precision. Participants were not common criminals. They were chosen for knowledge, influence, and the ability to obey without question. Invitations were whispered, never written. Hidden entrances led to subterranean chambers beneath the city, vaulted spaces shrouded in darkness and secrecy. Candles were arranged in intricate patterns, symbols etched into stone floors, and incense filled the air with acrid smoke. Every detail was designed to command obedience, to terrify, and to bind the participants to the ritual's outcome. At the heart of the ritual was an altar. Not merely symbolic, it was a focal point for both power and fear. Offerings were placed upon it, objects, symbols, and, according to some accounts, living sacrifices. Participants performed carefully scripted acts, their movements dictated by tradition, superstition, and an almost religious reverence for the event. The chant of incantations echoed through the chamber, creating a sound both hypnotic and oppressive. Participants' eyes gleamed with fear and fanaticism. Their minds were suspended between belief and terror. Those who faltered were punished. Not always physically, sometimes the punishment was psychological, a slow erosion of confidence or creeping paranoia. Some witnesses claimed that even the most confident participants left the ritual changed, haunted by visions or inexplicable events. Others disappeared altogether, leaving no trace beyond the whispered accounts of the terrified few who had survived to tell the tale. The city outside remained unaware, yet the neighborhood began to stir with rumors. Strange sounds chanting, the clatter of objects, and footsteps at impossible hours reached attentive ears. A candle flickering in an abandoned building became evidence in imagination, a sign of deeper, darker events. Police, bound by the limits of contemporary knowledge, initially dismissed complaints as exaggerations. Little did they know, a ritual had indeed taken place, carefully concealed, and its effects would ripple through society. The ritual combined elements of occult belief with deliberate criminal intent. Each act, each chant, each arrangement of symbols was meticulously designed. Some historians suggest that participants believed in supernatural outcomes. Others argue the event was a psychological power play, designed to bind participants through shared complicity in crime. Whatever the truth, the ritual achieved its goal, instilling fear, creating secrecy, and leaving an indelible mark on those involved. When the ritual concluded, participants fled into the London night, carrying with them secrets that could destroy careers, families, and reputations. Evidence was carefully destroyed or hidden. Candles melted into sigils, ash was swept away, and floors scrubbed clean. Anyone who could testify or even hint at the truth was threatened or disappeared. The ritual was invisible to all but those involved, yet its consequences were vast. The psychological impact on participants was profound. Some became obsessed, revisiting the ritual in their minds, haunted by imagined visions or guilt. Others became more ruthless, having crossed a line that bound them to secrecy and further crime. The city itself, though unaware of the specifics, absorbed the tension. Disappearances, odd symbols, and unexplained events fueled a climate of fear that persisted long after the ritual ended. When fragments of the dark ritual finally leaked to the public, London was gripped by shock and disbelief. The notion that such a sinister act could occur in the heart of their bustling metropolis was difficult to comprehend. Newspapers reported stories with a mix of horror and fascination. Accounts of vanished witnesses, unexplained marks in abandoned buildings, and the eerie descriptions of candlelit symbols etched into stone floors. The city's imagination ran wild, weaving tales that blurred the line between reality and legend. Fear became pervasive. Even those who dismissed rumors as exaggeration could not escape the chilling awareness that evil had walked openly among them, hidden behind familiar facades. Police efforts to investigate the ritual were fraught with frustration. At the time, law enforcement lacked both the forensic methods and the specialized understanding to confront crimes involving secrecy, ritual, and psychological manipulation. Officers interviewed terrified witnesses whose memories were tainted by fear. Physical evidence had been carefully erased or deliberately hidden. Investigators often found themselves at the mercy of the perpetrator's cunning. Doors locked from within, secret chambers undiscovered, and clues that led nowhere. Some officers admitted to feeling unease, as if the very walls of the city were conspiring against their comprehension. The ritual was meticulously orchestrated, leaving investigators grasping at shadows, piecing together an event that remained largely invisible, yet deeply consequential. The public's reaction was equally dramatic. Londoners began to interpret the city's foggy streets, flickering gas lamps, and narrow alleyways with heightened paranoia. Even ordinary sounds, a distant footstep, the clatter of a shutter, or a whisper from an alley could be perceived as a harbinger of hidden crime. Parents kept children close, merchants avoided certain districts after dusk, and the elite questioned their own staff with heightened suspicion. The ritual revealed that danger was not confined to the poor or the criminal underworld. It existed within the city's very structure, hidden in plain sight, lurking behind closed doors and in the shadows of societal hierarchy. The sensationalist press quickly capitalized on the city's fear. Newspapers and pamphlets reported with lurid detail, embellishing facts with speculation and rumor. Each new edition heightened public hysteria, feeding a cycle of fascination and terror. The boundaries between fact and fiction blurred as stories of the ritual were recounted in coffeehouses, theaters, and taverns. Witnesses' testimonies were often distorted, each retelling amplifying the darkness, creating a mythology around the event that would persist for decades. Socially, the ritual forced Londoners to confront uncomfortable truths about power and morality. The event exposed the vulnerability of institutions meant to maintain order and safety. Authority figures, whether aristocrats, merchants, or members of law enforcement, were revealed to be fallible, and in some cases complicit, in allowing such horrors to occur. This shattered a sense of security, prompting citizens to question both the moral integrity and the competence of those in power. Fear became intertwined with distrust, creating an atmosphere in which the ordinary citizen viewed the world with suspicion, recognizing that malevolence could flourish behind a polished exterior. Psychologically, the ritual left enduring scars. People reported heightened anxiety, nightmares, and an almost palpable tension when walking the city streets. Parents warned children about shadows and whispers, instilling a cautious vigilance that persisted across generations. Urban legends grew, incorporating elements of the ritual into broader narratives of haunted buildings, secret societies, and inexplicable disappearances. The ritual did not merely terrify, it reshaped perceptions of reality, illustrating how secrecy, fear, and human ambition could coalesce into acts that ordinary minds struggled to comprehend. Artists, writers, and playwrights quickly drew inspiration from the ritual. Gothic novels described clandestine gatherings, forbidden rites, and conspiracies within the elite. The theater dramatized the fear and psychological tension, turning real-life horror into spectacle. These cultural outputs cemented the ritual in the collective consciousness, ensuring that the dark event transcended mere historical curiosity and became a symbol of the fragility of societal morality. London's fascination with the occult, secret societies, and hidden crime was deeply influenced by this event, shaping narratives that would endure in literature and folklore for decades. The physical remnants of the ritual, though largely erased, became symbols in themselves. Hidden chambers beneath abandoned buildings, mysterious markings on stone floors, and cryptic diaries preserved in archives all whispered of the events that transpired. Explorers, historians, and later paranormal researchers would uncover traces, each discovery reigniting interest and speculation. The city's architecture became a silent witness to the ritual, every alleyway and stone wall a testament to secrets too dangerous to reveal openly. Moreover, the ritual highlighted the human capacity for secrecy and complicity. Participants were bound not only by belief, but by shared culpability. Fear of exposure ensured silence. This psychological mechanism, the combination of terror, obedience, and shared guilt, illustrated a universal truth. Power and secrecy, when intertwined, can produce acts of unimaginable darkness. The ritual was not an isolated incident. It was a demonstration of how ambition, fear, and human psychology could converge to create a tableau of horror hidden in plain sight. The long-term legacy of the ritual extends into modern perceptions of crime and secrecy. Historians examining urban legends, occult practices, and societal paranoia in 19th-century London frequently cite the 1820 ritual as a pivotal example. It shows how fear can spread, how stories can morph, and how a single clandestine event can resonate across centuries. The ritual became a lens through which future generations, understood the vulnerabilities of both individuals and institutions, demonstrating that even societies priding themselves on enlightenment and reason are not immune to darkness. Even today, walking through the streets of London, one can feel the shadows of that night. Gas lamps flicker, fog gathers, and the mind imagines shapes lurking in the corners. The ritual remains a haunting chapter in the city's history, a reminder that some crimes are never fully revealed, and some secrets are never truly gone. Its legacy persists not only in historical accounts, but in the collective imagination, where fear, power, and secrecy continue to intertwine, ensuring that the dark ritual of 1820 is never forgotten. In conclusion, the ritual was far more than an isolated criminal act. It reshaped societal trust, inspired culture, and altered the psychological landscape of an entire city. It revealed how easily fear could be manipulated, how deeply secrecy could protect the guilty, and how enduring the effects of a single dark event could be. London, a city of both light and shadow, learned a timeless lesson. That terror does not always announce itself in overt violence. Often, it lurks unseen, concealed by appearances, and waiting to leave its mark on those who least expect it. The shadows of London's past still whisper. The dark ritual of 1820 reminds us that terror often thrives behind closed doors, hidden in plain sight. If you want to uncover more stories of forbidden practices, secret crimes, and history's darkest corners, subscribe and join us on the next journey into the past's shadows. Some secrets, once revealed, never truly fade.